living a little bit less ordinary, 100%.
Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the Less Ordinary Podcast. Just me and Chezzy in the booth today. How we going, bros?
Going really good, eh? Bit of a slow start to the week. A little bit of fishing yesterday on a Monday, which is nice.
RDO.
Yeah, a little RDO set up. Took the boat out, Arvo session.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
So nice, gentleman's hours, absolutely cracker. But Jack's away. He's in Cali now, living it up. Looks like he's killing it over there. And
so if you listen to, I think not last week's potty, the week before, we were talking about how Jack just knows everyone and just networks and just got away with people. And we were laughing about, joking about he'd know the pilot and stuff. Anyway, he gets on his first class flight to LAX, and we get a photo in the group chat of the selfie with him with the pilot.
The fucking pilot. We said it as a joke because that's the sort of shit that happens to Jack Hardman. But fuck, man.
It actually did. And we'll put that over B-roll. But yeah, full selfie of him with the fucking pilot in his first class seat. So he's living it up over there. He'll be having a good time for the next 2 weeks. And today, Chez and I are going to talk a little bit of an educational, maybe somewhat of a how-to, but not quite, just a bit of information.
Different spin on our usual episode. I don't think we've ever touched on a real sort of technical episode before, fishing-wise. So something a little bit different. We'll give it a crack and see what you reckon.
Yeah, a bit more technical for us, hence why Gussie's not here. He's obviously not invested in that sort of side of things. But before we get into that, massive news today.
Yeah.
Huge, exciting, cat's out of the bag.
The TFI trailer for our TFI film has dropped tonight, and it's getting received very well, I'd say.
It's only just got dropped 20 minutes ago. So we're now airplane moded up. Actually, you need to do that with your phone. I'm seeing it buzzing.
I'm getting I can see the comments on my watch.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting pumped. But it's the first time we've sort of tiptoed around it, but we can say that we've done a Mulloway film for the TFI, a full-blown Dewey chasing, hunting, ghost film. Yeah. And we're super proud of it. But,
It's a 20-minute doco side. It's probably not what you're expecting in your mind. It's actually... It's quite, it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster.
It's real deep.
Yeah, it gets pretty deep which sounds weird for fishing, but when you see the film, you sort of understand. But yeah, we're super proud of how it came out. Obviously, worked real closely with Code along the whole journey. 3 months of filming, painstaking filming.
Fucking painstaking is an understatement.
Yeah, but we got it done in the end, and the way it turned out is blown all expectations. Obviously, New Code was going to make something magic. He always does, but I feel like every time you go in to see what he's done, it fucking
blows your mind.
Exceeds all expectations.
Time. But I know he's super proud of this. This is, I think he said it's his favourite project he's ever worked on, and we'll get him on in the future and do a full run through like we've spoken about for this TFI film. But super excited for you to watch. So the trailer's out. You can check that out on our socials. That gives you a good little insight into the sort of cinema and some of the shit we've captured for this film. It'll sort of hopefully blow your mind. So
just quickly, we captured pretty, I think, as far as my knowledge, unseen before footage of a Jewfish Mulloway eating a lure off the top.
I don't think that's been seen in the ocean. No. I don't think it's maybe seen, but not filmed.
Not filmed on a drone, and we fucking fluked somehow, and we captured this moment on film.
Yeah.
Early in the piece too.
Super early, so we thought we were done and dusted, locked away. Thanks for coming. This film is sorted, and, then we ended up 3 months later still trying to catch a fish, so it was real fucked.
We were trekking everywhere up and down the coast, fucking fishing our hearts out. It was a full-blown punish. But anyway, film came together in the end. Trailer's live. Go and check it out. Film goes live on the 23rd of July. We're off to Burleigh for the screening next week. Cam, myself, and Code. I get to meet all the big hitters and watch all the films, which we're super keen about. It's going to be, I reckon, the level of cinema and the level of some of the fishing is going to be fucking. It's going to be pretty insane
this year. I think it's definitely a level up this year compared to just looking at a few trailers and stuff. So good, healthy competition. It's going to be good. Hopefully our Jew film gets received for what it is. I think the Jew are pretty widely sort of accepted as a pretty trophy, elusive sort of fish. So hopefully it gets received well because
appeals to the masses. People can sort
of the heart and soul went into that one, that's for sure. So
absolutely. So keen for everyone to see it, which is good. But yesterday we went out, like Ches touched on earlier, just for an arvo fish, which was pretty good. Don't normally do the arvo fishing, but went out inshore fishing, snapper on plastics. One of our favourite styles of fishing. Your favourite style of fishing, you reckon?
I think it is my favourite style of fishing. Yeah.
which was
because there's shit going. It's active. It's
yeah,
generally
it's fully active. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of bycatch. There's a lot of everything. But had a good session. Got out there. Launched about 1 o'clock. It was howling, and we just trusted the weather forecast. It was supposed to drop off for the arvo, which is good because I feel like everyone sort of fucks off the arvo.
Originally, we were on for the morning session.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we fucked that off.
And then just like last minute call about 10 a.m. I rang Cam. I was like, arvo sesh, like let's give it a nudge. Obviously, we got down the boat ramp howling. We're like, fuck, is it going to drop off?
It was shit at the ramp.
Oh, it was shocking. But anyway, we got on the boat, got out there, and the wind just dropped off, did exactly what it said. And it kind of worked in your favour too because it wasn't a glass off in the morning. I think everyone had just given up for the day. So the arvo session, no boat traffic.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on this sooner.
I think that's a good little lead in.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk technical as much as we can. I don't think either of us claim to be experts in this field of fishing by any means, but we've done a fair bit of it. So we'll just share what we think we know.
Yeah.
And hopefully it helps you along the way to chasing your snapper and your reds and your little journey wherever you're at. So
yeah, and a lot of this knowledge is fairly common, can be found online, videos. I know I draw a lot of inspiration. I know you have too from fella up the coast in Coff, Sam Gilchrist, I think his name is, on the gills. He's like
by the gills, yeah.
Yeah, by the gills. He's fucking like
fishes
unreal.
for Daiwa.
Yeah, unreal inshore snapper on plastics fisherman. His content's sick. And
well, that episode on YouTube from Daiwa, Australia, he runs that episode, inshore plastic snapper fishing, and it's a spectacular little watch. So
yeah,
definitely
super
check that
cluey
out.
Dude.
Yeah.
But you can find a lot of this knowledge all over the joint. But I think we've got something to add, and can talk about sort of our past and experiences and things like that. So basically, all in all, this is going to be inshore targeting of snapper on soft plastics. And when I say inshore, I'm talking sub 30.
Yeah, sub 30.
Sub 30 metres, all the way up until, 5 metres of water. Less sometimes if you're in some
typically
really
a winter
country.
activity.
Yep, typically a winter activity, and east coast of Australia this will be more focused on. The west coast fishery, from my knowledge and having done it in the past when I lived there, is a fair bit different. They do a lot of stray lining, a lot of anchoring and burling and stuff like that for their fish, and they fish plastics in burley trails and they get fish. I don't know if there's many crew that do the style that we're talking about, which we'll get to in a sec. But yeah, this is more that East Coast style. But basically, East Coast style snapper plastics fishing involves, getting out in the boat, on your boat, going to inshore reefs, headlands, rocky outcrops, all that sort of thing, and drifting, covering ground.
Crucial on the drift.
Yeah, throwing plastics. We're not talking about being on anchor. We're not talking about fishing baits. It's completely using artificials, and it's covering ground. It's drifting, and it's targeting, snapper.
And just on the drift, we've got a Lecky motor on our boat, and we do not use it.
Yeah.
You never use it. You can't beat a good breeze up your ass just pushing you over the reef.
Yeah.
So often on days that you've got no drift, your fishing turns to shit.
Yeah, it's definitely hard.
So weather-wise, you're looking for a good bit of wind.
Yep.
You're looking for a little bit of swell.
Yep.
Just a bit of movement.
Not completely calm and still.
No.
Absolutely. Just like any fishing though, that's,
I think they're probably a lot more sensitive than a lot of other species.
Yeah.
To noise, obviously there's all tips and tricks which we'll get into later about motoring around your reef and all that sort of stuff, but I think a bit of swell goes a long way in masking the fact that you're there in the first place.
Yeah.
So
also the swell obviously displaces bait, that sort of thing. They've always talked about after big storms and things like that. Fishing generally fires up, which makes sense. It stirs it up to the point where, all the bait and crustaceans and everything they're feeding on is all stirred up off the bottom. Everything.
Well, even just these big swells belting these reefs up.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It puts everything into a feeding frenzy. Yeah. So, obviously, conditions-wise, like a nice bit of wind for your drift. Doesn't have to be sort of like you can use a drift anchor to slow up your drift. We did that yesterday. It's not
it was fairly howling.
Yeah, it's howling. Like it's just I don't even know, like a 5 to 8 knot breeze.
Yeah, just something to push you along.
Push you along, motor you along, and just cover you a bit of ground.
Helps,
but not
helps
so
get your boat side on too, which helps with your casting. Like if you line up a couple of blokes, like often, I suppose you go out and you're fishing with a couple of mates, so helps line up, especially in our centre con. One at the front, one in the middle, one at the back. It works out really nice. So that drift will push you sideways. You have a lot of trouble if it's not windy because you end up nose in or arse into the
and
to the reef, and you're sort of all
around
fucking on top of each other, and it's real
then
shit.
Current plays into it, and it's just a bit of breeze is definitely crucial. But before we go further on that sort of thing, gear. I want to talk about gear, equipment. What sort of tackle are we talking about fishing here? Because it's not heavy, eh?
No, not at all.
Well,
I think part of the attraction to this style of fishing is light gear.
The sporting factor?
The sporting factor for sure is the light line, smaller reels, sort of light rods, I guess. Like you want to be directly in touch with these fish, and they do put on a fucking good show when you hook one. Yeah. So you want to start with rods. Like I think rods now, like what, your 7.5 foot sort of stick. I feel like there's that many snapper rods out there now. Like,
yeah, the snapper rods are typically traditionally were more like your 7-footers, but now there's ranges of rods that have been introduced that are, designed for snapper plastics fishing. And that generally means a little bit longer. 7'6" is the sweet spot that both Cam and I use. 7'6" allows for that extra casting distance, which obviously with a drift away from the boat, the further you can cast away from the boat, the more ground you cover, the newer ground you can reach. Yep. Super imperative. Softer tip for obviously lob and cast out. We're talking like high modulus graphite rods. Cam actually has a purposely built snapper rod. You can touch on that. What have you got?
Yeah, the Trophy Hunter. It's in the it's a medium, I think. Medium. They make a lighter one and a medium one, but Torzite guides. It's got a really big stripper guide on it, so it helps with those big long casts, letting that line fly through it. Nice sort of soft tip on it. I think when you're throwing some of these plastics, sometimes, especially when you're weighting them so light, you struggle to cast them real fast. So that little bit of softer tip gives you a little bit more whip on it. But yeah, that's a beautiful little rod, little cork handle and everything. And I actually lost it the other day. It flew out of the boat and I went and bought another one. That's how much I like it. So,
so Cam's
really
rod,
nice bit of kit.
Yeah, is definitely on the sort of upper level for the tackle. Like that rod, I think retails for about $550. Fantastic rod, purpose built for what it does.
You do not need that though.
Do not need it. Yeah. I fish with a Shimano Zodius, which is 7'4", and also TD Black, which is just Daiwa's staple Australian sort of design models. Affordable, $200, $250. It's called a Nugget. It's 7'6", 10 to 15 kilos. It's a little bit heavier. Great casting again, but again on the cheaper side, does the job perfectly.
Great little rod.
Yeah, great little rod. Yep. So they're the sorts of rods we're talking about. As far as the reels go, you can sort of mix it up, but anywhere between a 3,000 and a 5,000, I think that's the sweet spot. Is the sweet spot.
There's nothing to really say for brands or anything like that. It's just your 3K to 5K.
Yeah.
Line on those reels.
Yeah. Well,
this is where it can get a little bit more personal, I think.
Yeah. The reels as well. Personally, I like fishing something with a ball handle.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
A 3K Stratic will come with a little T-bar handle, a little poxy handle. I've got a 3K compact Certate. Comes with a Certate Arc, which has got a ball handle on it, which I think's fucking awesome.
Heaps nice.
Your Sustain, Cam fishes with a 5K.
Yeah, the foam ball handle.
Foam EVA handle. And then my other reel is a 4K Saltus. Again, ball handle. I love it. It's like winching power. Because even though they're light and small reels, like hook a good fish, like having that, like not fucking fiddling with it in your fingers, that's really good. Line, like you said, it's a very interesting one.
This is where it gets personal, I think. So
I think spending the money on a good line here is super beneficial.
From your braid all the way through to your leader too.
Yes.
So obviously the thinner the braid, the longer the cast.
Yep.
A nice, obviously stronger braid, direct contact with that fish, because there's a lot of feel in this style of fishing. Yeah. You want to be in tune with what's going on down there. Yeah. Big time.
And I will touch on, so like you say a standard 20-pound braid, you got your 4-strand braids, your 8-strand, you got 12-strand braids now. 4-strand, 20-pound braid is 20 pound through and through break, so that's affordable. Yes, definitely doable with the fishing. But I think going up that in that class of braid, fishing a 12-strand, a Saltiga, an Oshia, whatever, that sort of braid, you can get say a 20-pound braid, a PE2, that breaks at 35, 40 pounds because of the quality. They're the same diameter as a traditional 20. They're a bit smoother, they're thinner. So the sink rate on the plastic is a bit faster. It's a bit more natural. The cast is further. I think super beneficial and goes a long way in catching more fish in this style of fishing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then onto your leader from there.
Yeah, the leader thing.
This is where, like I know, Trey, you always go and fish. Like you've got 2 outfits on you when you go out. Yep. I typically don't sort of do that, but you will always run a lighter one and a heavier one. yesterday, we'll touch on it later, but you actually got caught up on your light combo.
Yeah, always do though.
With a big fucking fish, which ended up being your PB, but still stood the test.
Yeah.
20 pound is traditionally what I'll start with.
I think which is what most
It's
people use. And fluorocarbon.
Yeah, good fluoro, and it's just a good baseline.
And we've been fishing the Saltiga fluorocarbon recently, and I think is it the red one, the Saltiga, or the J thread?
That's the FC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two different types, but that's Saltiga. It's more expensive, but again, need every bit of it when you hook a good fish.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
So 20 pound leader.
Yeah, we've in previous sessions we've stepped down to 16, which some might just go as super fucking light, but sometimes in situations you got to force that bite. And then other situations we'll step up to 25 if the bite's hot and we're getting bricks.
Yeah,
so,
and I know guys fish 30 as well.
Yeah, it's just I think starting with 20 is a good starting point on any session. Go out, throw 20, see what happens.
Yeah.
Work from there.
Yeah, the other thing is, the reason it might sound ridiculous, say you're targeting fish up to 90 centimetres, maybe even that magic metre mark. It's like, why the fuck are you fishing so light? Fish 20, fish 40, 50, 60. Obviously, the style of fishing that you're doing, casting distance is important, so the lighter leader helps with that. Sinking of the lure for natural presentations, the lighter the leader, the better that's going to look. Also, this class of reds that you're targeting, because you don't go out there targeting, your 50s and your 60s and your smaller models. You're going out targeting a true beast, 80 plus centimeters. I call it a good benchmark. That's a fucking cracking red. 80 plus centimeter snapper.
That's a stonking red.
Yeah.
80 plus is a fucking proper model.
Yeah, they are so smart because they're quite an old fish, and it's like the smaller fish will eat you if you have 60 pound leader, no dramas. But this bigger fish, they've
stood the test of time for a reason.
They've seen the lures, they've seen the baits, they've had their time around. They're smart. So you have to fucking scale your gear down to catch these massive fish, even though the same species and the smaller ones will eat the heavier leader. Well, from my experience, and you'll get them. Hence why all the old guys will go out and they'll drop pillies and stuff on the bottom, and they seem to come in with a full esky of 30 to 40 centimeter panties, absolute bag out on them. They have the best time ever. Very rarely these days do they catch trophy reds, unless they're doing something a little bit different. But I'm talking your old school cats fishing the paternosters and things like that.
The trophy reds are nearly exclusively reserved for plastics fishing these days, I think.
Yeah, and stray line bait fishing and things like that as well.
Even outside of that fish getting older and everything, snapper as a species are extremely alert as it is. So any spearos out there will know, nearly, not impossible, but very difficult to shoot a good snapper.
Definitely
as opposed to something like a king or something like that. So if you can manage to pop one as a spearo of good size, huge appraisal there, because it's not easily done. So very aware, very alert, and that's why you're fishing that lighter gear. But when you do hook up, it comes to bite you. But it's what you got to do, and I think also, like I was saying before, it's part of the attraction, I guess, for me,
the sporting factor.
Is it's fucking sick because you cannot just spank these things, these big ones. They take you for a fucking walk.
Yeah, your whole flight. You think you're gonna get dusted. You think you're gonna lose it, but you can stop a serious class of fish on that light tackle, and you can pull a lot harder. Like, you spend the money on a good braid. I think my Certate has PE 1.7, which is about 30 odd pound braid. 20 pound leader. It's a small reel, fucking heaps of drag. I don't even know. It might have 10 kilo drag on it, but you're never putting that much through. But you can lock that thing up on 20 pound harder than you'd ever imagine.
Well, you can pull a lot harder than you would imagine. Yeah. Like a lot harder.
Yeah.
Well, you know for a fact, you throw a cast, not pay attention, you're in the reef, you get snagged. Try and break it.
Yeah.
Like, you're swinging off it to break that.
Pulling the boat and shit around, which is nuts for 20 pound.
It seems light, but it's not, but it is. It's a bit weird. But going on to, let's talk about knots.
Yeah, okay. So tackle's done, knots, FG always. We always do FGs for
just
smoothness of casting through the guides.
Yep.
And I run a long leader. I'll run it right off the tip of the spool. Won't cast off the spool, but a fucking good 2 meter leader, just so that invisibility from the braid all the way to the lure is the longest possible it can be, and for the abrasion resistance on the fish. But yeah, knots, put your 2 cents in.
To your terminal, so to your jig head.
Yep.
This is something I always traditionally tied just a good old uni knot, but something again, learning from By the Gills video, I started tying loop knots. So I think the theory is that like snapper crunch on whatever they're eating and your jig head extremely hard. Like, they've got a super powerful jaw and they bite fucking hard. They bend hooks. They crush jig heads.
Like the lead head of the jig head. They'll
crush it, man. The teeth marks in it. So if they can get, and they got little teeth and stuff, if they can get into that uni knot that's, traditionally so snug on a jig head, with a good back end of the jig head beyond it, they straight through that, like at the knot.
Just wear through it.
Straight through it while they're gnawing on that thing while they're fighting. So I guess the principle behind the loop knot is a little bit of play, a little bit of just movement where it's not pinned in one spot. If they do get a bite, like there's slack around the knot, in theory, they don't shoot through it as easily.
Yeah.
In saying that, I had one or two times yesterday where my loop knot, I lost a good fish and the loop had broken around the jig head. So I thought, got busted, reef, whatever. But in pulling the line back, look at the knot. You can still see the loops there, the knot's there, the tag's there. The loop has broken around the jig head. So again, whether the fish did get a tooth on it or whether might have been a small burr on the jig head that caused that, I don't know. But yeah. I think I'd still, and I tied unis for the rest of the day again. Still had one pop through there, but. Yeah, I think the loop knot's probably the go.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's personal preference. I don't think it matters heaps. The other thing that people argue is that the loop knot imparts more action on the lure, bit of free action. I think it does make a difference. Whether or not it's a huge difference, I'm yet to be the judge of that one. I can't speak on that. I tie loop knots. Some days I tie uni knots. I just fucking mix.
Well, the other thing I learned pretty quick when I started tying loop knots was time like super small because. Quarter ounce jig head, if you just got even just too much loop, it finds its way around the bottom of the lead on the end of the jig head and gets caught up. So it's only a tiny loop just for enough play, but
keep them snug.
Bit of an interesting topic and debate, that one. So.
Yeah, we'll see. Some people lost good fish to that. Now, when we're talking about soft plastics, and let's touch on this now, probably arguably the most important part is going to be your jig head size. And people snub their nose out, but this is I think if you want to catch inshore reds, good class of fish, you've nailed down that gear. You've downsized your gear. And we're talking beefed up brim stuff like we touched on before. Any 7-foot rod you got a little bit heavier than 3 to 5 kilo, like 4 to 8 kilo, perfect. Your 20-pound leader, 30-pound maximum. That is what I'll say. Personal, don't go heavier than that. Now we're talking jig head size. Fishing anywhere from 5 to 30 meters of water, 1/8 through to a 3/8 head is all I've ever fished.
I think it's all you need.
Yeah.
There's so many sort of, not formulas, but little theories you got to do in your head when it comes to the conditions that you're fishing. I always start out just on an average day with a 1/4 ounce. Like just that 1/4 ounce jig head, 20-pound leader is like always generally my starting point. I think it's pretty safe. It's nice and light and you can sort of work it out from there. But again, in a situation like yesterday where we had a lot of wind, you cast as far as you want, but before the plastic's getting a chance to hit the bottom in maybe 20 metres, you're on top of it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be fishing directly on top of it. It's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
So, if you got a drift anchor, slow it up. But in that situation, a heavier jig head to get you down before you're there.
Yeah. Adapt.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But yeah, we're talking about fishing in 30 metres of water with sometimes 1/6 of an ounce jig head. Now, this is all dependent on the drift. And when you're casting, this is easily probably the next most important part. Cast ahead of your drift. Do not cast your line behind the boat. Yeah. You want to cast ahead of your drift as far as you can and drift onto your line. Now,
I wasn't even going to talk about that. I thought it was, but it's probably important. Yeah,
so important.
I guess it's probably the most important bit. But I thought it sort of went without saying. But yeah, absolutely.
Cast ahead of your drift. Do not cast out behind you. You want to go over your line. Now, the reason for that is because when you're chasing snapper, they are a fish that are traditionally thought of as a bottom fish, but I'll go as far as saying that bigger class of fish, a lot of your bites will be in the top half of the water column. Now, I'm talking in 20 metres of water, your plastic is getting eaten from the surface down to 10 metres by big reds. Now,
sometimes very close to the
sometimes
surface,
as soon as it hits the water, they're onto it. Now,
which blows my mind personally. But
these fish, obviously, they come up off the bottom and they feed pretty aggressively subsurface, whether or not they're eating shit that the bonito and tuna and shit are carving up, whatever they're doing. They're sitting up high, as bait fish will sit up high. You often see on the sounder, school of yucca, they're sitting off the bottom. These things are up in the water column. Now, when you cast, you want to have slack line as you're drifting onto your jig head. Now, that is super important. When it comes to chasing flathead and jewfish, things in the estuary, you're always got tension on the line as your plastic's falling, just in case you get hit. Snapper, opposite. You keep that tension as the lure's falling. I think the lure...
It's a shit action.
It's a shit action. It makes it look unnatural. when you belt a cast out and leave a belly in the line as you drift onto it, it falls so naturally like a dead or wounded bait fish that's just been plucked off by, tuna or other fish, and it's falling to the bottom.
I think it's also a case of manage the slack line, though.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You can't just cast and just let it be slack until you're on top of it. You can, easy in bright situations, but I know in low light when we were fishing the other night, I sort of struggled to do that. You rely on completely on feel. You just take up a little bit of that slack line, you'd feel yourself get a little bit tight, let a bit out, but yeah.
Yeah, keep that belly in the line, like Cam said. Just wind up on the slack and let the lure fall. Now, when you're fishing, obviously, like we said about jig head size, 1/8 through to 3/8 ounce, because the fish are eating so high in the water column, that's why you can get away with fishing a 1/4 ounce head, because sometimes it's fucking 2 meters below the surface and you've hooked up.
I think it's a game of fish as light as the conditions will allow you.
Absolutely.
Is a good rule of thumb. Start at that 1/4 ounce, but go as light as conditions will allow.
Yeah.
And you're going to do better.
Yeah, and I'll say 99% of your bites will be on the fall of the lure, not the hop.
Yeah.
You might hop, then pause the lure, and it will start to fall, and then it will get eaten. But you will fucking very rarely hop and get hit on the hop, which is unlike your flathead and your jewfish and species like that.
You get hit on that slack line, and that is something that fucking excites me. That is something else, because they're an aggressive eat, especially them big ones.
Yeah,
you get that slack line, especially if it's a mid to top water column bite. You see that slack line just across the water, and the spray comes off
full
the top.
Rooster tails through the water.
Tails, as it tightens up, this fish takes off, and it is fucking exciting.
That's probably the best part. You're drifting down, you've got the belly in your line, and all of a sudden the line will just go fucking dead straight, and you crack that fish as hard as you can. You set that hook and you'll be on. So the fall is important. I'll almost go as far as saying I probably hop that lure twice before it gets back to the boat. So I'll cast as far as I can. I'll let it sink. And I'll just let it sink on a slack line 10, 20, 30 seconds. And then I'll rip, like just wind it and flick the rod tip as hard as I can, maybe 5 times.
The whole point of that is just getting yourself back up to the top of the water column so you can sink again. It's not so much to do with the action that you're creating in bringing that lure up at all. It's just get it up and let it fall again.
Yeah, let it fall again. Bang, and I'll let it fall. And I might do it one more time, back up the boat, do it again, and let it fall.
Again, depending on the conditions and how fast you come over top of your lure, if you've got a really fast drift and you're fishing a light jighead, that's where you got to do a bit of managing your drift and your weight to make sure that you can sort of do that.
Yeah.
Fish it pretty much back to your feet.
Yeah. And you want that lure. Obviously the idea is to get that lure towards the bottom. You don't want it on the bottom. If you're fishing too heavy, you'll notice, because you'll start catching red rock cod and Sergeant Baker flat out.
Sergeant Fuckwits, as we like to affectionately call them. But
we've got some snapper episodes on YouTube you can watch. We call them Sergeant Fuckwits. But if you're getting Red Rocky and Sergeant Baker cast after cast, downsize your jig head.
Yeah, or you're just too long on the bottom.
Yeah, you're too long on the bottom. You don't want to be hanging down there too long. Like I said, a lot of those bites will come off the bottom. It is part of it. You will catch a few of them, but rip it up, let it fall. Rip it up, let it fall. That's it. Very simple. Drift onto your line. Cast as far as you can. A 3/8 ounce head is pretty spot on for a lot of occasions, and like Cam said, a 1/4. 3/8 and 1/4 are the two most used ones. Very on the occasion when there's no wind or anything, I'll drop right down to 1/6
and
or
if it's
1/8.
real shallow,
and if it's real shallow, exactly.
Just on your little Red Rocky comment, another thing I learned from By the Gills, which I believe works.
Yeah.
And I sort of put Joust onto this the other day, and then I don't know whether it was coincidence or not, but he had a hot session when we had our comp the other day. So he reckons when you get them Red Rockies or them Sergeant Bakers on the bottom, and they fuck with it. They don't just eat it and take off. They just tap, start fucking with it until they find a hook. If you feel that, and you generally will, if you've got a good connection with your line, just with that little bit of slack, rip it away from them, instantly, because you don't want to catch the fucking things anyway. Rip it away, not heaps far away, but in doing that, you create a little bit of commotion, and that can sometimes get the attention if there is snapper nearby. What's going on over there? These little fuckwits are having a crack at this little bait. Yeah, and I think they are. I think saying they're a reaction feeder is probably pretty accurate. So that's something that I truly believe works.
Yeah, right. So rip it up out of the way. It makes sense, and they'll come over
and leave it in the zone. Yeah, but get it away from them.
Yeah, no, that's good. Now, when it comes to lures, you just can't go past 5 and 7 inch jerk shad profiles. They cast really far because they're streamlined. They seem to have this real natural fall, and every snapper fisher will agree they just are the best lure for them I've caught good ones on curly tails and paddle tails, all the rest of it. But the jerk shads are a good profile.
It's a safe bet too.
It's a safe bet, and every brand makes them. Z-Man, Gulp, fucking Bait Junkie.
You got a preference?
Yeah, I like Bait Junkies.
They're pretty soft, eh?
Yeah, they're soft. Their action's unreal.
Yeah.
I've caught numerous fish now on them that have been, that good class of fish, and I reckon they're sick. I just reckon they just got a really good action. Z-Man used to be the go-to, still great. Color-wise, I don't have a preference.
Yeah, I was thinking about this before this episode because I don't believe in the colour theory for snapper fishing at all.
Yeah. And people will be sitting there going, you're a fucking idiot.
You're an idiot. Yeah, Chaz, you're a fuckwit. Shut up, mate. Yeah. But I don't believe in it.
No.
And again, I'm not an expert. Tell me to fuck off if you want. But I don't think it has anything to do with it at all.
Yeah.
I think they're reaction feeders. I think it's the action of of this falling lure that looks like a wounded bait fish that gets them. It's that reaction bite. If you get it away from them pickers on the bottom, it's nothing to do with the colour.
Yeah. I'll also say that, when some days you're fishing one colour, your mate's fishing the other, and your mate's slaying them and you're not. I don't think that has much to do with the colour personally, because we've seen it happen fishing the same fucking lure next to each other. One guy gets 10 before another guy gets none. So I don't think it matters too much. Do with that what you will. Your classic colours, your pearl whites and your fucking like a nuclear chicken, they always seem to catch fish. If you want to get deep into it, a lot of the fish that they would feed on the reef, they're obviously going to be of some colour. I know they eat Sergeant Baker. They'll eat all that sort of shit, slimies and yakka, so natural colours. So I think all colours will work. And when
I first started snapper fishing, back when you were teaching me, I used to, in my own head, swear by pink.
Yeah, right.
But now
it's a personal thing, though.
I was full of shit.
And if that means, though, if you firmly believe one colour is better than the other, then fish that, because it will mean you impart the right action. You're casting them with, Yeah, well, we were having this conversation last night, so I want to touch a little bit on that, like fishing with intent. Yeah, fishing with intent, big believer in it, obviously.
Across all species too, not just snapper.
Yeah, having chased, obviously, mulloway for so long, it is a, I don't know, call it a sixth sense, call it superstitious, whatever. There is a full, cannot be studied by science, but there is a full thing, and this is 100% true. When you fish with intent, and the guy that fishes with confidence and thinks he's going to catch something is the one to catch the fish without fail. To the point where been fishing on the boat with people, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get one. I'm fishing. They're doing the same thing, imparting the same action on the lure, no fish, and then bang, yeah, on. Like, it happens. It's a real thing. Whether it be it's some I don't know what it is, but they know.
You'll never prove it.
The fish fucking know. The fish dead set know. I think even
if not for the fish knowing, I think subconsciously you just fish better.
Yeah.
When you're confident, you will, to every degree, fish better than a bloke who sort of can't be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
So fish with confidence, fish with intent. You've got your gear down packed. You're fishing the lighter leader. You're fishing those lighter jig heads. You're drifting onto your drift. You're halfway there to catching a big red. Now, the next thing is going to be where to go. Now, I'm actually fairly new to the whole snapper fishing inshore. I don't think it's particularly the hardest style of fishing once you know what to look for. Like a lot of guys can go out and do this, and I reckon on your first session out, having listened to and researched enough, you can go out and get a few reds on the board on plastics. Maybe not trophies, but you can get a couple.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So when it comes to fishing areas, Navionics is your best friend. Download the app, $60 a fucking
or
whatever
C-Map
it is.
or whatever you
got.
Like, what was Scotty running? I think he's got Lawrence, so
yeah,
he's running something else, but...
Yeah, whatever. But if you can get it on your phone, so you can actually do a bit of prep.
The Navionics app.
Yeah, Navionics app, perfect.
Great.
It's got relief shading. It's obviously got your contours and your drops and your falls and pinnacles and all the rest of it. We look at, on the East Coast, fishing any sort of rubbly bottom, kelps, pinnacles. I feel like all fish sort of hold on different areas. But something that doesn't look that good on the Navionics is not as impressive as a big pinnacle, but rather a patch of maybe 300 meters of rubbly contoured bottom, maybe not heaps of drops and falls in the depth, but enough just to structure to hold bait is going to hold snapper at some time or another based on our experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had areas we've gone and fished completely blind. I remember that session on our YouTube episode, went in completely blind, pulled up on the
well,
avionics.
that was a brand new zone for us.
Yeah.
I'd never fished it before.
Looked at the rubbly reef, stopped the boat, cut the motor, started the drift, fucking first cast, bang, I got a 70, you got fucking dusted up.
Bricked, yeah.
Fucking, and bagged a heap of reds that day. And that was often just by, looking on the navionics and a good class of fish too.
There's an absolute recipe for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Off the back of that, like something that looks real shit on the maps in terms of size, fucking hit it. Like tiny little, just a tiny
Isolated
little bump
spots
on the bottom. Like
it's probably 50 or 100 meters in the real world in terms of what is on the maps.
But it looks, next to, some of these zones we fish, there's these huge areas of, all this crazy ground, but, 100 meters off to the south, there's this tiny little fucking, and they hold fish because people drive past them. And they don't pay any attention to it. So I think fishing pressure has a lot to do with this style of fishing too. Like if you're a weekend fisher and it's a cracking day and there's 1,000 boats out, you're gonna have a harder time.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. Which will obviously segue nicely. Now you've sort of got an idea of the ground you're looking for without giving away too much, but just get the Navionics app, have a bit of a scale around, look at what's going on, find some patches of reef, some isolated rubble, pinnacles that all hold fish at one time or another. Boat traffic, huge thing. It's going to really affect your fishing ability. So weekend guys at really popular boat ramps, those reef systems, if they've been driven over 1 million times, it's going to be very hard to get a snapper to eat.
Not even just boat traffic, your boat too.
Yeah.
So another important thing, never drive over your reef. Like just leave it at that. Do your drift, and sometimes you look at your wind and see which way you think you're going to drift. Set up, let it blow you over the top of it. If it's shit, come back around, reposition, drift again, motor off. Like never drive back over your reef to start your drift again. Go as fucking wide as you can.
Yeah, do a big arc around it.
Like silence, absolute silence. Like we won't even have music on in the boat.
Yeah.
Like real quiet.
Yeah.
Super quiet. Stealth, I think, especially in that early morning.
Yeah. Those quieter times, and like if you're the only boat there, you've got a real good shot at not spooking them fish. You've got there early morning, you've made the effort. Just go that little extra mile to not put the music on and be quiet. Cut the boat, 150 from the reef, drift into it. Now, it might mean you hit the reef and it's completely dry, barren, there's no bait on it at all. Is what it is. Move on to the next spot. But if there's no point in driving over it, because like we said, those fish sitting high up in the water column, which they do, will spook, and you just want to be in with your best chance possible. And all it takes is sort of one fish, one hookup, one moment to really make a day. So super important. Again, other boat traffic, you're going to struggle. If you found a good patch of reef and you got all the right ingredients and you get out there and there's fucking 15 boats there, it's going to be hard to get a good one to eat. They're pretty cluey. They know what's going on. So it makes, making the effort to go, like what Cam said, to those areas that maybe get less pressure, launching into a boat ramp and running, doing the extra miles to run a bit further, or trying to fish like we did yesterday, fish an afternoon bite after a big blow, because everyone just seems to, if it's not in the morning, a lot of people won't go out. We had no boats out yesterday and we fucking caught 20-odd reds. Good session.
Great session.
Yeah, great session. So that's super important as well.
Talk to me about tides. Barometer, moon. What's your theories? Again, just theories. We're not professionals, but just based on what we've gathered.
A lot of people can agree that full moon's tougher. Reason being, well, from my understanding, full moon, snapper will feed all throughout the night. If they've got a heap of light, that full moon allows them to feed throughout the night. Come first light, they're fed up because they've been able to feed all night on the reef. Therefore, they're not hungry in the morning. Bang, you get up there first light, you're fishing, fucking nothing's happening. You're like, fuck, all right, it's whatever, it's shut down today.
Versus the dark of the moon.
Versus the dark of the moon, which that first glimpse of light, pitch black all night, fucking they seem to be hungry. And a lot of people will agree on this. It's not a set in stone rule. However, on a full moon, a few people have said, and it's full moon at the moment, yesterday afternoon fired, the morning bite is somewhat slow. However, the afternoon bite can be...
Well, I guess it's just the opposite. They haven't fed all day.
They haven't fed all day, so they fed all night. Come the afternoon, they haven't fed because they didn't feed throughout the bright lights of the morning. So come that afternoon bite, they're all hungry again. They start feeding. Again, just a theory, but it sort of makes sense
and
on
will
paper.
Feed into the night.
Yeah, and will feed into the night and continue to feed, and then maybe shut down in the morning. Again, just a theory.
Interesting about yesterday. So we had sunset at fucking 5:30 or whatever. last light by 6:30, 7 o'clock. Moonrise wasn't until about 8:30.
Yeah.
And it went real dead. We didn't stay out to fish the moonrise, but I wonder whether you would get a second bite window.
On the moonrise.
On that moonrise.
Yeah.
I would hypothesize maybe yes, but again, haven't stuck around to find out.
Plastics fishing for reds in the night is a whole different kettle of fish too.
Right,
like we haven't done, I don't know if many people do it. Probably can be, it's something to look into. Tide changes, like all fishing, is a peak bite time. Obviously, when the tide changes, currents change, baits that are sitting behind certain rocks with the certain currents and stuff, they're now displaced and shit starts to move around. It gets shit fired up. It's just how it works. Works out on the shelf, works in an estuary. Tide change will disrupt what's been going on for 6 hours on either side of that tide, and something will shift. That will cause a trigger, feeding bells. They know, the fish know. So targeting around tide changes are going to be super important.
Obviously, you can line up a tide with a sunrise or a sunset.
Yeah, perfect.
You're in with a good shot.
And even so, like say a tide change at 8 a.m. and you had the first light at 6 a.m., you get the first light bite, you might get the fucking tide change bite as well. It might prolong your bite. Overcast conditions, typically fish better again. Barometer, never look too much into it. Don't really fucking know. Don't have my 2 cents. Just fish when you can fish.
You would imagine that a high pressure.
Yeah, high pressure. Better. That's what they say. But again, I don't know enough to weigh in on that. But if that's worked for you in the past, then fucking keep it going.
Something I do want to talk about, which is something you and I have spoken about a lot, which is that midday bite for these bigger fish.
Yeah.
So you talk about it because you've had a lot of experience with it.
Yeah, I reckon. I reckon. I've probably got maybe 5 odd fish. Like probably most of my big fish, like proper big fish, over 80 centimeters.
Well, the last 2 over 80 have come midday.
Yeah, and I know I've had 2 previous as well like that have come midday. Jack got a 77 midday as well. So theory goes, early mornings, late afternoons, high numbers of fish, like lots of fish, but everything's feeding. Even the snapper, they're fucking hungry. Come the middle of the day, the biggest snapper are about the only fish besides your kingfish, but as far as snapper goes, the big ones are about the only ones that can get out and actively feed because they're not going to get predated on as heavily as a small snapper.
Predated, is that a word?
Yeah, predated. I think so.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting smoked by any predators.
They're not getting smoked by any predators.
Yeah.
Therefore, those bigger fish, they can fucking hunt throughout the middle of the day. Now, you're not going to get as many bites, and same thing goes for mulloway and things like that. But
you'll find the bite goes dead. Like sun's right up overhead.
Yeah,
shit's going to shut right down. It gets real slow. But if you persist, and we live by this now, you'll generally get a shot at a snapper, and when you do, it's going to be fucking huge.
It'll be big, and it's happened. We've had it happen a number of times. Like we went out 2 weeks ago, you hooked one smack bang on midday. That was a fucking cracker,
and got smoked. But on top of that, at that midday, you fish since, like 5:30 in the morning, first light. You're a little bit tired. There's not much going on, so you can start to get a little bit lazy.
Yes.
It is not a good time to be lazy because when that fish comes, it will be big. And if you're not ready, like I wasn't the other day, it just will blow you apart.
Yeah, it goes to shit real quick. But I got a fish yesterday, 87 centimetres. It's not my PB, but it's my PB in this style of fishing. I caught one about 90 centimetres and around 10 kilos in West Australia, fishing plastics again, but a little bit deeper water. That would have been about 40 metres. 87 centimetres yesterday, and that came at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
I've caught another fish in not far from that same zone in like the mid-80s as well. That came at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Same session, hooked another 2 that would have been that size as well. Our YouTube video on our maiden voyage in the boat, we caught a heap of reds, a couple of good ones early on, then a fuckload of panties, and then got one like 82 middle of the day. When we went up to Seals the other day, when we were fishing, fucking 80 middle of the day. Again, like it's like those bigger class of fish. There's not as many fish, but the big ones come out to play.
And it doesn't mean you won't get them early in the morning or late in the arvo. It's just if you do get it midday, there's a good chance it's going to be that bigger fish. So if you're out chasing that trophy, maybe think about that midday.
Yeah,
sort of bite window.
If the conditions there, you know everything on, just like persist through. And I think it's a case of like when you're putting the lure in front of a fish, in the mornings in the arvos, you're putting it in front of fucking 50 hungry snapper.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, you might be putting it in front of no snapper, but if you do put it in front of one, it's one big
It's a big fucker.
So he's the only one that can eat the lure.
Talk to me about your fight on this fish. What was it, 86, 87?
Yeah.
Fuck me, it carried on.
Yeah, fuck, they go that hard. So classic snapper bite, cast ahead of the drift, 3/8 ounce head with a 5-inch plastic.
Because it was howling.
Yeah, because it was howling. I fished a 4.0 hook because I like get that on them bait junkies. I feel like that shorter shank, getting it right up in the body near the nose, you get a really good body roll, and I reckon you get a really good hook up. Like snapper just fucking nail it head first. So I don't mind fishing a small hook. So it was like a strong hook. So BKK it was 4.0.
Well, the tech on them now, they don't traditionally bend.
They're not going to bend,
no.
and I like the action you get with a smaller jig head. So I just prefer that personally. I don't think you need a huge gape. They just fucking nail it. Again, pegged out end of the drip, like at the length of the cast, sinking. Must have sunk for no longer than 5 seconds. It wouldn't have been no more than 5 meters down below the surface.
Fucking
the line just cranked tight. I've jammed the hooks in, and I'm
scared the shit out of me. I was standing next to you. I went, holy fuck.
I'm like winding. I'm like, yeah. I was like, big. Like just knew it was big, and then
rod's folded.
Yeah, off it goes, pissing line.
Good couple of seconds before it decided to go for a walk.
It came towards the boat, and we were drifting onto it, but I could just feel the weight.
So this thing took off.
Yeah, it took off, and I'm like, fucking big. And then I'm like, gotta be king.
Yeah, maybe king.
Gotta be king. Like, it's fucking screaming. And then it was like, big heady. And then I was like, it's a fucking red. But I always would just be like, just tell yourself it's not.
You give yourself worst case scenario so you can't get disappointed.
Yeah, you can't get disappointed, but deep down I'm like, this is a fucking red. And if I lost it, it was like a 70 centimeter king. That's how I put it anyway. I'm like, fucking bang, heady. Like, that's a red. Fucking got him off the bottom, piss line again, 20 pound setup, 3,000. The second
run was harder.
Yeah, second run was harder, deeper, and he just went, and I'm like,
that's when you know it's a stonker.
Yeah, at any moment, and I've had it happen a million times. You're just waiting for it to go, ping, like just pang, something pops.
Because you can imagine under that much pressure, you're fishing nearly lock drag. Mind you, only on the 3K. You did well on the 3K to stop that fucking thing.
I think to stop some fish, that reel.
Yeah, and like you're rubbing the spool a little bit, try and put the brakes on it.
spool a bit and fucking do all sorts,
But yeah, the amount of pressure that line's under. One tiny bit of rock or reef, and that thing is just gone.
Yeah.
So quick. And I thought you were gone yesterday.
Yeah. I actually kept saying it. I was like, I'm gone.
You didn't give up though, but you were saying that. And it's going, and it's nearly not straight down, but it's going at the reef. Like it's trying to go home. Yeah. And I was like, any second now, ping.
And then it stopped. And every time it stops, I'm like, no fucking way. Pump. Anyway, landed at 87 centimeter fish. It didn't look like one of them big ugly. I've caught fish that are smaller but look bigger because of the humps on them, and I think that's the difference between male and female. I could be wrong, but it wasn't a big ugly one, big knobby head thing.
Not a real dark fish either, like a real clean silver-looking fish.
I think it was like clean female fish, really like a thick set fish, but doesn't do it justice for the size of like some of them ones, big knobbies. Again, carried on like.
Well, even Gus said that, and he's not a fisherman.
Yeah,
he was like, was that as big as you said it was?
Yeah,
but it was. We've got the video of it on the brag map. But your 80 looked a good 100 mil longer.
Yeah, just because of the head on it. So it's
snoz.
It's a little bit of a shame when it comes to phase. But
as
far as the fight,
fucking 87. Like that's fucking pretty much as good as they get around here.
Yeah,
we're in by no means. Like it's a great fishery around where we live around Newcastle and Port Stephens and stuff, but it's not at the level of, like Coffs Harbour and stuff like that, where there's I think that's where those real big mummers
you get some
hanging
big
around.
Ones. They definitely get them here. Obviously, for guys like ourselves that haven't been doing it flat out for too long, we haven't come across one yet, but we've racked up a good few fish. Like, there's been a fair few 80s that have come out of that boat now, yet to crack the 90, so we're hoping to do a trip up that Coffs region, and like something that Ches and I really both fucking enjoy, like love going out the boat, love like, you just got the tunes playing. You got all your gear. It's nice. You pack light. The gear. It's easy to fish with all day. The hits are fucking awesome. You can keep a few for a feed. You're always like some shit happens. You get blown away. You get dusted. It's just
fucking
good fun fishing.
It's heartbreaking, but it's what keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
Like I haven't cracked one over 80. That's one of my big fishing sort of goals at the moment, and we put a good few sessions in recently trying to make that happen.
Yeah, and you've had your shot at a few good ones.
Yeah, and Then I'll tell you what, when I first started fishing for reds on plastics, I could not imagine how hard they would go.
Yeah.
Those bigger models.
Blows your mind, eh?
Oh my fucking God, bro.
Yeah.
They are an athletic fish and they will fuck you over.
Yeah.
They are dirty dog fighters. They will reef you. They'll fuck you. They just take off on you. Like real.
Well, I remember Chez's first ever won on a plucky. Was that your first ever one? When we were up at, like first one doing that style of fishing?
Yeah, I think it might have been my first one on a plastic.
Yeah.
But it was a fucking great way to open the account.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't think I've beat that fish.
Yeah. Well, that fish, I remember we were out.
That was probably, 2 years ago?
2.5 years ago, I reckon. Yeah. We're out fishing and then like, again, new area. Went on the Navionics, found some reef. Went out with the boys. I was in the tinny with Ches. We were drifting.
Fairly late in the day too.
Fairly late in the day. Yeah. He's fishing. And obviously being new to it, he was fishing it. You was fishing it sort of like you would for flatty.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, like, let it sink. And he just listened. He just let it sink. And then he's like, oh, yeah, sort of understands. Like, let it sink on that slack line. Next minute, fucking Ches hooks up. Like, on cue, fights this thing. I think that went like
74, I think it was.
74, yeah. So it's like pushing that mark, cracking fish, fucking played up, remember, pissing line. I ended up filming on a GoPro, but I filmed myself the whole fight, so we didn't even catch it.
At that, but we got a couple of good photos.
Yeah, we got photos which we can throw up as well. So
again, though, that female looking fish.
Yeah, again, yeah, doesn't do it justice.
Real silver, no big knob, no big snores.
Yeah,
but yeah, to this day, still one that I haven't been able to beat.
Yeah,
but I've had plenty of shots and fucked it, so I'll be back out there trying to make it happen.
And we caught a few good ones on the ski. Haven't cracked 80 on the ski yet. I think we're 77, maybe the best. We've been blown away by a heap. Had some fucking cracking sessions on the north coast. I remember being.
Well, they tow you around on the ski. Yeah, that's half the problem.
Fucking smoke you around
on
the ski.
They will tow the ski. You probably can't put. It would be marginally different, but I'd imagine you probably can't put it as much hurt on them because the ski starts moving with them.
Yeah,
fuck, they fight hard.
But yeah, that's pretty much our 2 cents on the Reds fishing.
The only other thing I'd like to add is you might have heard in the last episode, or was it last one or one before? I was picking on Jack about the golden age of catch and release. I would love to see them big fish go back for another day. Yeah. So we did that yesterday with your fish, your 87. Yeah. That's gone back for another day. Swam off healthy.
Yeah.
And we kept that in the net.
Yeah.
So we pulled it up, got a couple of photos, and we were fucking around a little bit. We wanted to get some better photos. So back in the net, in the water. Like, because the big ones fight so fucking hard. They nearly just about kill themselves, I think. So sit them in the net, keep the water moving through them until you're ready to maybe clear the boat and get your photos and all that sort of stuff. And then, that one swam off healthy and kicked off good yesterday. It was actually on the story, the Savo.
Yeah. Yeah, but, she was good. So, like, releasing them bigger class fish, keep a feed.
The big ones are fucking, I don't know.
Yeah.
We have eaten a big one because we did have an 80 that didn't release well. Yeah. We tried for fucking 20 minutes. We did eat it. Didn't look as good when we filleted it. Yeah. I think it's still maybe 8 all right, maybe not as good, but you can't be that fucking panty size.
Yeah, and just letting the big one, it just feels bad. Like you do like this dog fight.
Yeah, man.
He nearly wins.
You gotta respect you have to.
Yeah,
you can't not.
Yeah, so it feels good to let him go, but yeah.
You'll catch that many panties anyway.
What's your final take homes for people that want to, like, if you want to sort of catch one, like, what do you do?
What do you like? It's like a top 3 rules.
Yeah, give me like a rules, like your Chez's Bible for catching reds.
Chez's Bible. All right, fish light, like as light as possible.
Yep. Line and jig head.
Yep. Probably more so jig head.
Yep.
Second one, which I've learned the hard way recently, be fucking ready.
Yep.
Because when they hit, if you don't strike, you miss them real quick. And third one, let the big ones go.
Let the big ones go.
Fish light, be ready, let the big ones go. That's Chez's Snapper Bible.
Like it.
Give me yours.
Cast with the drift. Slack line always on the fall as they'll eat it then. And nothing over 30-pound leader.
You're strong on that 30-pound call, eh?
Yeah, 30-pound is as heavy as I would go. And lots that you'll get them on light, but just if you want to do this style of fishing under 30-pound leader, that's the go. So I think that'll wrap us up, eh? Oh yeah, send us in if you got fucking big reds. If someone's cracked a meter,
I'd be interested to see this.
I'd love to see your biggest reds, and like even if you don't have it on a brag mat, you claim it to be a meter, send it in. Let us have a look at it.
Doesn't have to be on a plastic header. Yeah, I'd love to see a meter red. I've never seen one.
Someone got something in the meter class or 90s, high 90s. Just send us in your big red photos. I'd like to see a couple.
Have you seen one?
No, never in the flesh. Seen photos of shit.
Seen photos?
Yeah.
I don't think I've even seen a photo of one.
Heaps come out of West Oz. I've seen ones off the rocks in West Oz. It is different.
Like I'd like to see a meter East Coast red caught on a plastic. That would be like god tier shit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the walk that thing and take you on a plastic? Like if you got caught up on 20-pound with a meter fish, like that 87.
Be 15 kilo fish.
And you know the difference between even from like a mid 70s to a mid 80s. It's just a whole new class of fish. Like I can only imagine from an 80, even 90 to a meter. Like fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe if you end up on a meter, you wish you had over 30, but fuck hell, man.
He'd have to play the game. But again, a meter fish would be so smart. He might only eat 10-pound leader.
Yeah, that's the fucking catch-22. So
anyway, thanks for tuning in for another app. We'll be back next week again. Like TFI film goes live on Wednesday. Go and watch the trailer. We're keen to share it with you.
Wednesday. Oh yeah, it is Wednesday when this gets released. Yeah, next week.
Gets on 23rd of July, Wednesday. Watch the film. You do have to pay to view them. But yeah, it's a good watch. So
it's a great watch.
Get around it.
Thanks, guys.